Shalom, my friends. I am Rabbi David, and today I am going to reveal the ancient spiritual technology behind the most powerful 2-minute prayer in existence. A prayer so potent that it can activate a miracle in your life in the next 120 seconds. This is not a metaphor. This is not an exaggeration. This is a spiritual law, a piece of divine physics that has been hidden in plain sight for millennia. We are going to bypass the years of struggle, the decades of unanswered prayers, and plug you directly into the source of all miracles. But before I unveil this sacred code, I need you to make a declaration of readiness. This is not for me, it is for you. It is a signal to the universe, to your own soul, that you are no longer willing to wait for a miracle, but are ready to become a vessel for one. It is an act of drawing a line in the sand of your own life and declaring that the past of lack and frustration ends now. Go to the comments right now and write, "I am ready for my miracle." Do it now. Feel the certainty in your fingertips as you type. This is your first act of faith, the first step in rewiring your reality from the inside out. Our mission here is to gather an army of 100,000 souls dedicated to mastering this spiritual technology for wealth, health, and freedom. If you are ready to be one of them, if you are ready to move from a life of chance to a life of design, subscribe to this channel now. And for those who are truly serious, for those who want to accelerate their journey from scarcity to abundance, for a limited time, I am opening the doors to the Torah Millionaire Business School for just $299. This is not a course. It is a complete system, the entire Torah framework for wealth that I use to go from crippling debt to financial sovereignty. The doors are closing very soon. The link is in the comments. Do not hesitate. Your future self will thank you. I understand the skepticism you might feel. A miracle in 2 minutes? It sounds like a fantasy, a desperate marketing gimmick in a world full of them. I understand, because I was once the king of the skeptics. I was a prisoner of what the world calls reality. And my reality was a nightmare. I know what it feels like to be drowning in a sea of red ink, to lie awake at 3 a.m. with the cold sweat of panic on your brow, your heart pounding in your chest as you stare at the ceiling, calculating the numbers over and over again, praying for a mistake in your math that never comes. For me, that number was $427,000. That was the size of the mountain of debt I was buried under. It was a weight so immense, so suffocating, that it poisoned every single moment of my existence. It was the first thought that greeted me in the morning, and the last demon that haunted me at night. I remember one specific afternoon. I was at the grocery store with my daughter. She was 5 years old. She saw a small, brightly colored toy, a simple plastic doll that couldn't have cost more than $10. She looked up at me with her wide, innocent eyes and asked, "Daddy, can I have this?" And I had to say no. I had to look into my child's face and deny her a simple $10 joy because my finances were so catastrophically mismanaged. The look of disappointment in her eyes was a dagger in my heart. It wasn't just disappointment, it was confusion. In her world, her father was a superhero. Superheroes could do anything, but her superhero couldn't even afford a $10 doll. In that moment, I felt my cape turn to dust. I felt like a complete and utter failure as a man, as a father. That night, the silence between my wife and me was not just silence. It was a screaming accusation. It was a chasm of unspoken fears and resentments. How can you speak of love when your mind is screaming about interest payments? How can you be present with your children when a part of you is always somewhere else, trapped in a spreadsheet of your own failure? I tried everything the world tells you to do. I worked 18-hour days. I took on projects I hated, sacrificing my soul for a few extra dollars. I created budgets so draconian, so devoid of life, that we couldn't even afford the simple joy of taking our children for an ice cream cone. I negotiated with creditors, my voice trembling with a shame so profound it felt like acid in my throat. I begged for extensions. I pleaded for mercy. I prayed. Oh, how I prayed. Long, desperate, tear-filled prayers that seemed to hit a ceiling of brass and fall back to the ground, unanswered. Each failed attempt, each unanswered prayer, chipped away at my faith, not just in God, but in myself. I was a rabbi, a teacher of faith, and yet my own life was a testament to its failure. The mountain of debt only grew, and my hope, my very life force, was turning to dust. The enemy we are all fighting, the true source of our unanswered prayers, is not a lack of faith. It is not a lack of effort. It is a subtle, insidious lie that has been programmed into the very fabric of our religious consciousness. I call it the begging mentality. It is the deeply ingrained, toxic belief that God is a distant, reluctant king who must be convinced, cajoled, and persuaded to grant us our desires. It is the illusion that the quantity of our words, the volume of our tears, or the duration of our prayers is what moves the hand of the Almighty. This enemy's hidden mechanism is that it operates through the poison of unworthiness. It forces you to approach the divine not as a beloved child coming home to a loving father, but as a beggar pleading for scraps from a master's table. This posture of begging, this consciousness of lack, creates a spiritual static, a frequency of desperation that literally blocks the very miracles you are seeking. Abundance cannot flow into a vessel that is vibrating with scarcity. Healing cannot enter a body that is convinced of its sickness. The universe is a mirror, and it can only reflect back to you the truth of your own consciousness. If you approach it begging, it will give you more reasons to beg. The cost of surrendering to this enemy is catastrophic. It is a life of spiritual frustration, a slow and agonizing death of your deepest dreams. It is the tragedy of arriving at the end of your days with a heart full of unanswered prayers, believing that God was silent, when in fact you were simply tuned to the wrong frequency. You were broadcasting a signal of lack and wondering why the station of abundance never came in. This begging mentality is the opposite of the creator mentality that the Torah demands of us. A creator does not beg for resources. A creator commands them. A creator does not plead for opportunities. A creator architects them. We were created in the image of God, the ultimate creator. Therefore, our natural state is one of creation, not supplication. The begging mentality is a form of spiritual slavery, a return to the consciousness of Egypt, where we felt powerless and dependent on the whims of a taskmaster. Freedom, true freedom, is the realization that the power is, and always has been, within you. But what if I told you that the code to shattering this illusion, the secret to instantaneous miracles, was embedded in a single dramatic moment in the Torah thousands of years ago? It is a story so profound, so radical, that it turns everything we thought we knew about prayer on its head. We find it in the book of Exodus, chapter 14. The Israelites have just escaped centuries of slavery in Egypt. They are standing at the edge of the Red Sea, a moment of exhilarating freedom, but their joy is short-lived. In the distance, they hear the thunder of chariots. Pharaoh and his entire army are bearing down on them, intent on dragging them back to bondage. In front of them is an impassable sea. Behind them is an unstoppable army. On either side are vast, unforgiving deserts. They are trapped, utterly and completely trapped. The people, in their terror, cry out against Moses. And what does Moses do? He does what any good religious leader would do. He begins to pray. He cries out to God for a miracle. And it is God's response in that moment that contains the secret to the 2-minute miracle. God says to Moses, in what I imagine is a tone of divine impatience, Ma titzak elai, why are you crying out to me? Stop praying. Daber el bnei Yisrael v'yasau. Tell the children of Israel to move forward. This is perhaps the most shocking and misunderstood statement in the entire Torah. God's answer to prayer was to tell Moses to stop praying. He did not want more words. He did not want more pleading. He wanted action. He wanted movement. The Kabbalists teach a profound secret here. The Hebrew word for prayer, tefillah, does not mean to beg or to plead. It comes from the root word el-shist, hitpalel, which means to judge oneself, to assess oneself. Prayer is not about changing God's mind. It is about assessing and changing your own consciousness to align with the divine reality, where the miracle has already happened. Moses' prayer was a cry of desperation from a consciousness of being trapped. In Kabbalistic terms, he was in a state of mokin de katnut, a constricted consciousness. God's response was a command to shift into mokin de gadlut, an expanded consciousness of freedom, and to act from that new state of being. The miracle of the splitting of the sea did not happen because Moses prayed longer or harder. It happened when he stopped crying out in fear and started moving forward in faith. The prayer was the catalyst for the shift in consciousness. The action was the trigger for the manifestation of the miracle. This is the formula: a short, powerful alignment of consciousness, followed by immediate, committed action. That is the technology of miracles. The Zohar, the foundational text of Kabbalah, explains that the Red Sea was not a physical body of water in that moment, but a manifestation of the din, the energy of severe judgment that the Israelites had created through their fear. By moving forward, they were not just walking into water, they were piercing the veil of their own limited consciousness. That night, sitting in my office, surrounded by stacks of unpaid bills and threatening letters from creditors, the story of the Red Sea exploded in my mind with new meaning. I had been standing at the edge of my own Red Sea of debt, crying out, begging for a miracle, just as Moses had. And for years, the heavens had been silent. But now I understood. God wasn't silent. He was waiting. He was waiting for me to stop begging and start moving. I had been practicing the begging mentality, steeped in a consciousness of lack and victimhood. I had been trying to convince God to save me, instead of aligning with the reality where I was already saved. That night, I made a decision. I would no longer be a victim to my debt consciousness. I would no longer pray as a beggar. I would perform the very spiritual technology I am about to teach you. It was a prayer that took less than 2 minutes. It was not a prayer of pleading, but a prayer of activation, a prayer of alignment. I didn't ask for the debt to go away. I declared that I was a vessel for divine abundance, and that the blockage of debt was cleansed from my life. At first, nothing happened externally. The pile of bills on my desk didn't magically vanish, but internally, everything shifted. The crushing weight of shame and anxiety was lifted, replaced by a quiet, unshakable confidence, a profound sense of peace. The Hebrew word for this is bitachon, not hope, but a deep, cellular trust that everything is already taken care of. I went to sleep that night for the first time in years without the feeling of a stone in my stomach. The very next morning, I woke up and, acting from this new consciousness of bitachon, I made a phone call I had been dreading for months. It was to a potential client for a consulting project I thought was a long shot. Before, my voice would have been tinged with the desperation of needing the deal. But this time, I spoke with a calm authority, a detachment from the outcome. I was not calling to get something. I was calling to offer my value from a place of wholeness. The man on the other end of the line was so taken by my presentation that he not only agreed to the project, but offered me a retainer that was double what I had planned to ask for. That single phone call, which took place less than 12 hours after that 2-minute prayer, was the first crack in the dam. It was an injection of $50,000 of unexpected revenue into my life. Within a week, another opportunity appeared, seemingly out of nowhere. Within 6 months, I had not only cleared the entire $427,000 of debt, but I had laid the foundation for the 7-figure business I have today. But the miracle wasn't just financial. The silence in my marriage was replaced with laughter. I could look my wife in the eye without flinching. I could be present with my children, truly present, and share in their simple joys without the dark cloud of debt hanging over me. I had not changed my external circumstances through struggle. I had changed my internal consciousness through a 2-minute prayer, and my circumstances were forced, by spiritual law, to rearrange themselves around my new frequency. Now, let me give you the practical application. Let me give you the keys to the kingdom. I call it the 2-minute miracle activation protocol. This is not a prayer of begging. This is a sacred technology for aligning your frequency with the reality you wish to create. It is based on one of the oldest and most powerful Kabbalistic prayers ever revealed, the Ana B'Koach. This prayer is a 42-letter name of God, a sequence of divine energy that is said to have been used in the creation of the universe. Reciting it with intention, with kavana asterisk, takes approximately 2 minutes, and it is a spiritual nuclear bomb. There are 3 steps to this protocol. Do not skip a single one. Asterisk. Step 1. The declaration of receptivity. Asterisk. Before you even utter the words of the prayer, you must consciously shift out of the begging mentality. Close your eyes. Take 3 deep, slow breaths. With each breath, imagine you are breathing out the static of fear, doubt, and unworthiness. On the first breath, say to yourself, I release the consciousness of lack. On the second breath, say, I release the need to beg. On the third breath, say, I am a clear and open vessel for miracles. This first step is critical. It clears the channel. It prepares the soil. It takes less than 30 seconds, but it is the difference between a prayer that hits the ceiling and a prayer that rearranges the cosmos. Asterisk. Step 2. The activation of the sacred code. Asterisk. Now, you will recite the Ana B'Koach prayer. I will say it now in Hebrew, and I will provide the transliteration in the description below. You do not need to understand every word for it to work. These are not just words, they are frequencies. They are tuning forks for your soul. As you say the words, focus on the problem you are facing, but do not see it as a problem. See it as a locked door. And as you speak each line of this prayer, you are not begging for the door to be opened. You are calmly and confidently inserting the correct key into the lock. The prayer is as follows. Ana B'Koach, Gedulat Yaminka, Tatir Tsurura. I implore you, by the great power of your right hand, release the captive. This first line is a call to unlock blocked energy. Kabel Rinat Amcha, Sagvenu Taharenu, Nora. Accept the prayer of your people. Strengthen us, purify us, O Awesome One. This is the declaration of receptivity. Nagibor, Dorshe Yehudcha, Kavavat Shamrem. Please, O Mighty One, those who seek your unity, guard them as the apple of your eye. This is a request for protection on your spiritual journey. Barcham, Taharam, Rachamei Tzidkacha, Tamid Gamlem. Bless them, purify them, have mercy upon them, and always grant them your righteousness. This is an activation of divine flow. Hasin Kadosh, Birov Tufcha, Nahala Datecha. Almighty Holy One, in your abundant goodness, guide your congregation. This is a request for guidance. Yochid Ge'e, Lamcha Pne, Zochrei Kedushatecha. O unique, exalted One, turn to your people who are mindful of your holiness. This is the alignment with the divine. Shavatenu Kabel, Ushma Tza'akatenu, Yodea Ta'alumot. Accept our prayer and hear our cry, O knower of secrets. This is the final connection. As you finish the prayer, you must whisper the final line, which is the master key. Baruch Shem Kvod Malchuto Lo-Olam Va'ed. Blessed is the name of his glorious kingdom forever and ever. This is the moment of activation. Step 3. The action of faith. This is the step that 99% of people miss, and it is why their prayers go unanswered. Just like God commanded Moses, tell the people to move forward. You must immediately follow the prayer with a physical act of faith. After you say the final word, open your eyes, and within the next hour, you must take one concrete action, no matter how small, that demonstrates your trust that the miracle is already done. If you are praying for financial abundance, it could be sending that email, making that call, or buying that book on investing. If you are praying for healing, it could be scheduling the doctor's appointment you've been avoiding, or going for a 5-minute walk. If you are praying for a soulmate, it could be clearing out a drawer in your dresser to make space for them. The action itself is less important than the consciousness behind it. You are not acting to make the miracle happen. You are acting because the miracle has already happened in the spiritual realm, and you are now moving your physical body into alignment with that new reality. Now, let me tell you about a student of mine, Michael. He owned a small construction business and was on the verge of bankruptcy. He was owed $100,000 by a client who had disappeared. He implemented this protocol. He did the 2-minute prayer. His action of faith? He went to his office, wrote an invoice for the $100,000 and marked it paid in full in bright red ink. It was an act of pure, audacious faith. 2 days later, he received a call from the client's lawyer. The client had passed away, but had left a provision in his will to settle all outstanding business debts. A check for the full $100,000 arrived the following week. Or consider Rachel, a woman who received a terrifying health diagnosis. The doctors gave her a grim prognosis. She performed the Ana Bikoak protocol every morning for 7 days. Her action of faith was to go online and book a vacation for 6 months in the future, a trip she would only be able to take if she were completely healthy. When she went back for follow-up tests a month later, her doctors were stunned. The condition had completely vanished. They called it a spontaneous remission. Rachel called it spiritual technology. And then there is David, a talented artist who had been struggling for years in obscurity. He felt blocked, unable to create meaningful work. He prayed the Ana Bikoak with the intention of unlocking his creativity. His action of faith was to buy a single expensive canvas that he had always felt he was not good enough to use. That afternoon, he began to paint, and he said it felt as if his hands were being guided by a force beyond himself. He completed the painting in a single session. A week later, a gallery owner who was visiting a friend's apartment saw the painting, was mesmerized by it, and offered David a solo show on the spot. That show sold out on opening night. Now, I know the objection that is rising in your mind, because it is the same one that plagued me for years. But Rabbi, this feels too easy. I have been taught that you must struggle, that you must suffer and strive for God to hear you. How can a 2-minute prayer possibly solve a problem I have been battling for 10 years? I understand. We have been conditioned to believe that the value of a solution is directly proportional to the difficulty of obtaining it. We have been sold a lie that our struggle is holy. But here is the truth you must grasp. God does not need your struggle. He does not desire your suffering. That is an invention of the Yetzer Hara the negative inclination, designed to keep you trapped in the matrix of effort and lack. The universe operates on the principle of efficiency, not difficulty. A key does not need to struggle to open a lock. It simply needs to be the correct shape. This prayer, this protocol, is not easy. It is efficient. It is the correct key. The difficulty is not in the prayer itself. The difficulty is in letting go of your addiction to struggle. The difficulty is in having the audacity to believe that you are worthy of an instant miracle. Stop honoring your problem by giving it your constant struggle and attention. Your problem is not a God to be worshipped with the sacrifice of your peace. It is a locked door, and you have just been handed the key. Another objection I hear is, but Rabbi, what if I don't feel anything? What if I say the prayer and nothing happens? This is a subtle trap of the ego. You are looking for a Hollywood special effect, a thunderclap from heaven. But true spiritual power is often quiet. It is a subtle shift in the fabric of reality. The feeling is not the miracle. The feeling is a byproduct. Your job is not to feel something. Your job is to do the protocol and trust the process. The farmer does not dig up the seed every day to see if it is growing. He plants the seed, he waters it, and he trusts that the laws of nature are at work. This protocol is a seed. Plant it, take your action of faith, and let the laws of the universe do their work. A third objection is one I hear from the most devout students. But Rabbi, isn't it selfish to pray for my own needs? Shouldn't I just pray for world peace? This is a beautiful sentiment, but it comes from a misunderstanding of how spiritual light works. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Your personal abundance, your health, your joy, these are not for you alone. They are the fuel for your mission in this world. When you are financially free, you can support your community. When you are healthy, you can care for your family. When you are filled with joy, you become a light to everyone you meet. Your miracle is not the destination. It is the starting point. It is God's way of equipping you for the great work you are here to do. Praying for your own miracle is the most selfless thing you can do, because a healed and abundant you is a gift to the entire world. The question is no longer whether the key works. The question is, will you have the courage to use it? So here is my challenge to you. I am not asking you to believe me. I am asking you to test this for yourself. For the next 7 days, you will commit to the 2-minute miracle activation protocol. Not 5 days, not 6 days. 7 days. 7 is the number of creation, the number of completion. Here are your 3 immediate, non-negotiable actions to begin this challenge. 1. Write down the one specific miracle you are seeking. Be precise. Not just more money, but an extra $5,000 in my bank account. Not just better health, but a clean bill of health from my doctor. Clarity is power. 2. Schedule a 2-minute appointment with God in your calendar every single morning for the next 7 days. Treat it as the most important meeting of your day, because it is. 3. Identify your action of faith for each day in advance. Write down 7 small, concrete actions you can take immediately following your prayer. And here is a bonus tip for those who want to amplify the results. Find an accountability partner. Share this video with one person who you know is also in need of a miracle. Commit to doing this challenge together and checking in with each other every day. The Talmud teaches, a prisoner cannot free himself from prison. You need a brother or a sister on this journey to hold you to the frequency of faith when your own doubts begin to creep in. And now, I want to end with a blessing. A blessing not from me to you, but a blessing that I am activating within you. May you be blessed with the courage to release your addiction to struggle and your attachment to the familiar pain of your problems. May you be blessed with the wisdom to apply this sacred technology, not as a last resort, but as your first response. May you be blessed with the holy audacity to accept the instantaneous miracle that is your birthright, the miracle that has been waiting for you just on the other side of your next prayer. May the blockages in your life dissolve, may the channels of abundance open wide, and may you walk forward from this day on, not as a beggar pleading for scraps, but as a creator, a co-creator with the divine, architecting a reality of wealth, health, and freedom. I am praying for you. I am holding the space for your miracle. Shalom. Go to the comments right now and write, I am ready for my miracle. Do it now. Feel the certainty in your fingertips as you type. This is your first act of faith, the first step in rewiring your reality from the inside out. Our mission here is to gather an army of 100,000 souls dedicated to mastering this spiritual technology for wealth, health, and freedom. If you are ready to be one of them, if you are ready to move from a life of chance to a life of design, subscribe to this channel now. And for those who are truly serious, for those who want to accelerate their journey from scarcity to abundance, for a limited time, I am opening the doors to the Torah Millionaire Business School for just $299. This is not a course, it is a complete system, the entire Torah framework for wealth that I use to go from crippling debt to financial sovereignty. The doors are closing very soon. The link is in the comments. Do not hesitate. Your future self will thank you.